Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan, Tim.
Do you know who Chris Hardwick is?
The name's ringing a bell.
He's an annoying nerd who totally can't take his mouth off of the ass cheeks of the heads of AMC networks. He started off on Nerdist, which was a website, and then he slowly became the face of post-show talk about what you just watched type programs, Talking Dead on after The Walking Dead. He's also done Talking Saul, Talking Bad, Talking Dead after Fear the Walking Dead, the spinoff, prequel. Anyways, so Chris Hardwick is a very popular nerd.
Okay.
And he's just very positive about all things nerd culture. He's at Comic-Con. He's a stand-up comedian. He's a motivational speaker. He's fucking everywhere. There was that NBC game show, The Wall.
That was a terrible show.
Yeah, it's just like a Red Rubber Ball ripoff of Plinko from The Price is Right.
Kind of, yeah.
So anyway, Chris Hardwick, very popular, very successful.
Good for him.
In an online essay, his ex, Chloe Dykstra, accused an ex-boyfriend of hers who was roughly 20 years her senior of basically having a controlling type of personality with her, basically forcing her to have sex with him at times, and being emotionally abusive. And people connected the dots that she was talking about Chris Hardwick, because it was pretty fucking obvious that though she never said Chris Hardwick, she meant Chris Hardwick.
Okay.
So what happened was immediately AMC said in light of the allegations they're going to have him step aside for a bit while they investigate the matter. He was off TV. He didn't get to be at the Walking Dead Season 9 conversation panel like he normally hosts at Comic-Con. And more importantly, he was then taken off of the bill for the Humor Me Comedy Festival.
So before anything comes to light, any truth, people are just reacting. We've discussed this before.
Well, the network's going into typical of these days cover our asses mode. Because they don't want to not do something and then he's found guilty and they look insensitive for doing nothing. So now everybody just errs on the side of caution and punishes you before you've been proven guilty as a means of appeasing the social justice freak shows that are out there seething with rage about allegations that are made that are not entirely proven or founded. And basically it's the torch and pitchfork rage crowd that need to be appeased.
I don't want anyone to seem insensitive, but at the same time, you can't take all these steps and just destroy. You're basically destroying their life no matter what. Even if he's found innocent later on, it's too fucking late.
It's always there, and there's people that no matter what the outcome, even if in his favor that he was not guilty,
I think they bought off the jury.
Or something, they'll freak out and say, well, this is bullshit. For instance, AMC had a law firm conduct an investigation into this. That is a type of law firm that specializes in high-profile cases of alleged abuse and such.
Okay.
You know, and in his favor was the fact that only one of his exes said this. He didn't have a whole slew of women coming forward like Bill Cosby or Harvey Weinstein or a bunch of dudes like Kevin Spacey. There was not this tidal wave of accusers.
Yeah.
There was no bandwagoning, so to speak. And then his friends were supporting him, saying he's one of the nicest guys we've ever met. Now, he's kind of a stuck-up douche, but still, people care about this guy because he's genuinely nice to his friends and colleagues.
It's probably just a front he puts on for the stuff that his personality, his on-air personality, maybe.
Right. So there was nothing found that proved any of this shit that was claimed in this article of, you know, an alleged male with a controlling personality who was emotionally abusive and forced sex on Chloe Dykstra.
Did they ever take like a polygraph test or something? I'm just curious how you prove something like that.
No, they didn't go the Jeremy Piven route, where when Jeremy Piven was accused, he said, I'll take a fucking polygraph. And he did, and he passed, and he threw it in the faces of his accusers and go, now what? I passed.
I like Jeremy Piven. He was great on Entourage.
So now that he has been found innocent by this investigation, AMC has welcomed him back. Now, he missed out on work opportunities and money. His reputation is still noticeably tarnished. And there's people that, even though this came out in his favor, such as comedian and like D-list actress Kathy Griffin.
Oh, fuck her. She's got no talent.
Here was her response to this finding. A 2-word tweet that just said, "Fuck this."
She's still a little bit bitter about her photo shoot.
Yeah, I don't know, but and there's a ton of people saying that they've lost all respect for Chris Hardwick, and this is why women don't come forward because they know they won't be believed. And how dare you let him get away with this? People that think that their opinion somehow supersedes fact.
Dare I say that's most liberals?
It's very indicative of many social justice warriors that they have an emotional response instead of a logical one.
That's why they're called bleeding hearts.
Yeah, kind of like with Charlottesville.
Yeah.
With Trump saying, well, I'm not saying what they did was good or bad, but they have a right to say it. Which, if you look at free speech at face value,
that's exactly what it meant.
A bunch of idiotic neo-Nazis with their stupid tiki torches can go out there, or a bunch of right-wing conservatives that are very pro-white and sick of being made the scapegoat, which is their point of view. They want to speak. Let them speak. You don't have to get pissed. You don't have to go there and throw rocks.
You don't even have to listen.
You don't. They have the right to speak about it as much as you have the right to tell them to shut the fuck up.
But you got to do it peacefully.
And people flipped out at President Trump because he didn't condemn them. Because he didn't bandwagon with them. He didn't hop on with the mob and wave a bunch of torches and pitchforks of their own and say, how fucking dare you?
No, he did what a president is supposed to do, Commander-in-Chief. The first item on the Bill of Rights is the freedom of speech. So they can say it. Don't have to agree with it. I don't agree with it, but they can say it.
And although I was a 2-time Obama voter, and I'm mostly pro-Obama after the 8 years we had of him, even though he created certain social climates that are untenable at present.
Like
basically,
1 point GDP?
Well, I was going to say more about the fueling the racial divide. But I feel like immediately Obama would have apologized for Charlottesville.
He apologized to everybody for everything.
But back to the matter at hand. When it comes down to the investigation that found that Chris Hardwick, they could not prove any of this, here's a big reason why. Because once they found it, Chloe Dykstra said, I'm through with this, I'm moving on from the storm and getting on with my life. When I came forward with my essay, I never set out to ruin his career. She wanted it out there, but didn't want to ruin his career. Then why did you not go to the authorities instead of the media? Because you didn't think the authorities would say anything?
The authorities aren't going to give you 15 minutes of fame. The media will.
Right, and here's the thing. Is she blames him for ruining her career. Is one facet of their relationship. I'm not saying it's related to this or it isn't. It would seem like it is.
What did she do?
She was an actress of some sort. I don't know who she is, and I don't frankly give a flying fuck. But this is going to piss you off. She made this stink in this magazine, and she slandered a man's reputation professionally that led to him being taken away from his paying roles and demonized in the media by the left-wingers. She did not speak to investigators when asked.
She just refused, or they just never asked her?
She didn't play ball. They asked her.
Huh. Maybe because there's something to hide.
Well, I was thinking that smacks of someone who is not believable because they don't have enough concrete evidence or hard facts to support their hypothesis or theory or allegations, and they're going to be made to look a fool. So rather than get embroiled in this, and I'm sure she'll say, I didn't want to be re-victimized by reliving all of this by talking about it.
Then why did you say something in the first place? What did you think was going to happen when you come out with this publicly? Everyone's going to want to know. Investigators are going to want to investigate because justice needs to be brought out if there's justice to be brought out, such as if he did do this shit. If you don't want to relive it, you should have just kept it in the dark. Gone to therapy.
That's not how the Me Too movement works, Tim. They want to say what they want to say, and they want you to immediately punish somebody, and they're guilty until proven innocent. And there's a large segment now of these people that will automatically believe whatever is said and get on the side of the, quote, victim without thinking of the damage it will cause the accused. Nobody's interested in justice. They just want to be right. And here we go. Emotional response, a situation that requires logic and understanding and patience, but you don't want to give it. You want to snap judgment.
Using it.
And I can't believe, and I've said this numerous times now in different episodes, the climate of our country, people just want to fucking destroy each other. You got somebody who's so popular, so successful, you just want to break them down. And I think, do you only want to do this to bring them down to your level so you can make peace with yourself about how shitty your own life is?
That sounds like a good reasoning for me.
Or is it
not for me to do, I mean.
Right. Or is it that you need to rage against these different problems so that you can feel like you're doing something? Because acting like you're a part of change for some people is enough to versus actually enacting change, participating, getting out there, doing more. And it's sickening because anybody from your past could accuse you tomorrow. And your neighbors might turn on you, and your friends, some of them might turn on you. Your employer might cut you loose.
My wife.
All this shit could happen because somebody points a fucking finger. That's what we've gotten to.
Yeah. Man, like I said, it's guilty until proven innocent in a lot of these situations.
You know what it makes me think of? Kids playing, like, laser tag. You've got the guns, you've got the sensors, and they're like, oh, your sensor's broken, I got you, I totally got you, you got hit. If you just say something and you believe it enough, in your own mind you think that it's true, even though clearly your gun did not hit the target. It's like the kid that keeps sucking at a video game in front of his friends and keeps saying, well, this fucking controller's broken.
Yeah.
That's what you sound like, liberal nutbags. And yes, I'm calling you nutbags, and it's derogatory. Well, liberals seem fucking insane to me.
They do.
Because it's so extreme. I don't get how you could be so far gone that you would throw common sense and logic right out the fucking window.
Because they haven't been taught that. That's why. The school system and a lot of these parents, it's no longer about hard work and doing things and learning the past. It's all about, well, just go out there and get your piece. Go out there and get what you want. However you have to get it.
Well, what we're doing is we're raising a society now with 1.5 generations of professional victims. Everyone's got these goddamn martyr complexes, and oh my God, it couldn't be that I'm a piece of shit, or I didn't apply myself, or I fucked up. It's, look at all the people that fucked me over along the way.
Nobody fucks anybody over except for yourself. You make a bad mistake, you gotta learn to live with it.
Well, unless, of course, you're involved with the Church of Scientology.
Yeah.
In which case, they'll totally fuck you for life. And even when you leave, they'll try to fuck you even harder. Leah Ramini knows what I'm talking about. I just, I feel like we're reaching that tipping point. I haven't really said this before, because I don't want to seem hyperbolic in tone. We are reaching a tipping point where I think the Me Too movement has gotten so far perverted from what it was originally intended to be that for as many people will automatically believe every accuser, more people are fucking fed up of the Me Too movement.
It could be. Because, I mean, when did the Me Too movement start? Wasn't it like not even a year ago?
I think 2 years ago.
And it was just supposed to be, come on out, and if you were abused in the past, come on out and shed it to light, and hopefully there can be justice, or the truth can be found out,
But the problem there is that everybody believes they're a victim. So they say whatever they want without actually, thinking logically about the context of what transpired. So that's basically kind of what happened when the girl accused Aziz Ansari of being sexually aggressive with her. She didn't use the words rape, but she explained in the evening that she went to his apartment. He kept trying to get her to do stuff. She would do some of it, but she didn't want to have sex. He's like, okay. So then they'd chill for a bit, and he'd try to kind of get things going again. And at one point, I distinctly remember her going, he asked me for oral sex, and I didn't want to do it, but I did it anyway. Where's the fucking personal responsibility?
That's personal responsibility right there. You didn't want to do it. You didn't have to do it. He kept bugging you. Leave.
Right. And that's what a lot of people said is, you're confusing having a bad sexual experience with sexual assault. And this is you taking the Me Too movement down a peg with your idiocy.
Mm-hmm.
If something happens to one of our daughters, heaven forbid, hopefully not.
Oh, God.
You've only got 2 to worry about. I've got 4.
Yeah, that's true.
So if something happens to them, I want them to feel like they can come forward. But I've also been of the mindset that I want to teach them a strong sense of personal responsibility and situational awareness. So this bullshit of, well, a woman should be able to dress like a total fucking skank and walk down the worst street in Minneapolis and not have to worry about getting raped. People shouldn't have to feel like they're entitled to sex. That's very true, but I'm living in reality and the sky is blue here.
And somebody will take advantage of that situation, thinking that woman's actually a slut, when really, no, she just has poor fashion sense.
And you're not going to want us to, put this person out of their misery by putting them in the ground. You're going to want to send them to sensitivity training and try to therapeutically change them because you believe deep down that we're all good people when honestly we're fucking not. Because it's a hunter-gatherer society where I've talked about it, the electrical grid collapses. Mm-hmm. It's all going to be you and your family.
Yeah.
And you can't call me and check on me to see how I am. And I doubt you're going to be like, hey, family, can you just hang out here? I'm going to ride the motorcycle over to Jmann's house and see how he's doing. And I'm probably not going to be like, all right, kids, hop in the car. Let's leave all our worldly belongings and our safe space to go make sure that the number one family is still okay. As much as I'd want to. Logic is I'm going to look out for my own. Mm-hmm. And I'm probably going to end up having to kill some of my neighbors for food or to stop them from trying to take mine.
I'll send us some smoke signals.
So my kids need to learn that they need to look out for themselves instead of relying on society to fucking protect them all the time.
Personal responsibility. Can't say it enough.
I don't go out in public hoping that everyone around me has a gun to defend me if there's a shooter. Like, if we go out in public, I'm not going to go, well, I hope Tim's packing right now. I know you will be, obviously. But I hope Tim's packing right now so that if somebody starts shooting up this movie theater, he can take them out and save my life. Yeah, I'm going to probably shove you to the ground and myself, and we're going to army crawl out of there, and hopefully you don't blind fire and take out any innocent people while we're just trying to make it out alive. I don't need to be a fucking hero, and I don't need you to be my guardian angel. Because I know that my responsibility is to point at the exits and try to come up with a plan like that, and we make it out alive.
Jmann, I promise you, if we're ever in a movie and somebody comes in and starts shooting, I ain't there to fight for you. I'm there to fight for myself.
Right, right. And if it was my belief that I should be able to arm myself and defend myself for my own safety, I would have a gun on me in the theater. I wouldn't rely upon anybody else in there to do it for me.
Can't even rely on a security guard.
Which is just like you shouldn't rely on anybody else to stop the rest of the world from raping you unless they're, of course, a cop. But we've chosen that profession to be our protectors. You need to think of yourself. You need to not go to a party and get shit-faced and then think that you can just pass out anywhere and no one's going to try to do stuff to you. Because there are those people out there. And I'm sorry, it sucks. It shouldn't happen to you. But it could happen to you. Some of you, it may just definitely happen to you. Some of you, it's happened to you or someone you know. Back to the Chris Hardwick thing. I'm glad that he was cleared. I don't necessarily believe he's innocent. I think she may have embellished details to get some sympathy, and she played it smart so she couldn't be sued if it wasn't proven by not naming him directly, but she made it so blatantly obvious who she was talking about that everybody had no choice but to believe it was Chris Hardwick himself she was talking about. And this guy's fucking married now. This is an ex-girlfriend of his from years ago. And he's married now. And his wife came to his defense, obviously, but she didn't have to. And other ex-girlfriends and coworkers and friends all came to his defense. She could have gone up there and
says, yeah, it's kind of a little rough sometimes, and he kind of controls me, wants me home by 10:30. But, that was like Mrs. Number One fan, She was, she likes to go to the movies on Tuesdays with a couple of friends, my mom, and a few other things, and she's just like, well, the nose ring thing too. She got the little stud in her nose.
Yeah.
She was asking me, well, will you let me get that? I says, that's your choice. That's your body. I mean, you'll get it. I might like it. I might not. I can't promise one way or the other, so just do it. You know, if I don't like it, oh well.
Well, the wife she talked about getting like a chest tattoo, and I'm like, please don't.
Yours?
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm like, please don't mess up your tits with stupid tattoos. Because eventually it's just going to be a distraction over a couple of fried eggs on a doornail when you're older.
Yeah.
And it's, frankly, I find the female cleavage area very sexy. I don't need you to like show them off too much, but I'm not a fan of chest tattoos on women. Maybe a little one above one boob, but not a giant fucking chest mural across from armpit to armpit.
I don't mind a little bit on the side or in the back shoulders or in the, the tramp stamp, the legs, maybe even on the arm. But yeah, there's a point where on anybody it's just too much.
And I just think she can do what she wants, but she should be prepared for the fact that I might be like, ew. And I'm not going to be like, well, I better be nice to her. She's my wife. Well, yes, but
I'm going to tell her the truth. Marriage is based on honesty.
Well, it's logic is right there. This is how I feel. And I'm supporting it with the facts that I have seen chest tattoos and did like them. Yeah, well, much like the facts of the investigation showed that Chris Hardwick was not this monster she painted him out to be. Allegedly. Without name.
Yeah.
Fucking coward. Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It. That is at What Do We Call It. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan, Tim.
And that's the end.